Hello everybody and welcome back to another round of the Tail Racing Ring Runners here from the North Side. It is the Skip Barber round, one of those rounds that I must say I've been very much looking forward to this season, although wasn't quite expecting the rain that has fallen on the racetrack. It is making this a very, very different race maybe than what we were expecting to see from the Skip Barbers here tonight. It's myself, Ian O'Leary, and James Parfitt with you for this broadcast. And yeah, raining out there on the circuit. I was expecting this Skip Barber round to be one of those where maybe like the MX-5s last time out, that, you know, the field will stay very close together. There won't be much separation in the field because these cars are so slow. They spend so long on the straights. They use the slipstream to stay very close, and we could get some four-wide exciting moments out there on the circuit. But these conditions, and it's not only just lightly raining either, by the way, it's very, very heavy rain, is going to change this race in a very big way compared to what we were expecting to see.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've got another slow car, shall we say. It's going to bring great racing, and they've only got 154 corners to contend with. Not many. The question will be is, look at the puddle. Look at that puddle all the way across the racetrack. There's going to be a couple of areas where that's going to be the situation. How's the aquaplaning going to be?
Well, exactly, yeah, and you know, I've done quite a few rain races weirdly in the last few weeks, and this is some of the worst conditions actually that I've seen. I don't know if you can pull up the weather on the right hand side. We can see what the percentage that the rain's falling. 21%. I thought it'd be much worse than that. I did a race yesterday that was nearly 50%. It looked a lot sort of similar to this, but there you go. Anyway, that's weather for you. It is quite different across different days and whatever. In the meantime, as they get ready on the grid, let's just tell you quickly about the championship standings, because we've had quite a lot of rounds so far. These still not with the drop weeks applied just yet, by the way. This is Stephen Johnson leading the way ahead of Matt Van Horn, Scott Sadler not that far away, Anthony Solomon as well, Chase Petterjohn, John Amico, all just over 100 points, but have missed out on quite a few rounds. Again, it will sort of figure itself out when the drop rounds are applied, because especially in Sadler's case, he's missed 2 of them. In the pro standings, there's not many drivers who've missed races, really. So it's fairly true to real life. Corey Stas leading the way by quite a narrow margin over Evan Crowd and Dean Dilts, both 7 points behind. Then you've got David Mull, who's only another point further back. Dan Kosick rounding out the top 5 as well, 13 points back. Then you get to David Ander, who's been at all the rounds so far, but has missed out on points. Same with Pat Messick. 2 rounds missed for Matt Green. He might be a feature in the season late on because of a couple of good performances especially, but lower than that, and you're probably struggling to get involved. As you can see, Jason Hightower only been at one of the rounds so far, although he did win it and take the maximum points, 35, or the most of anybody that evening anyway, with 35 ahead of the rest. As they pull towards the start-finish line, the starting grid has Corey Stas at the very front of it, with Stephen Johnson alongside the 2 current leaders of the respective champions. Matt Green and Dave Mull then on row 2 ahead of Dan Kosick and David Andes, with Christopher Herron and Scott Sadler running out the top 4. Matt Van Horn and Evan Crowder running out the top 10. Pat Messick and Chase Petterjohn are on row 6, with Scott Sadler starting from the pit lane, deciding to start from the pit lane, and so Anthony Solomon is bumped up onto that final row of the grid. Sadler, I'm not sure quite why, is down on pit lane at the moment and deciding to do that, but anyway, that's what he's decided to do, it seems. No surprises that everybody's on these wet tyres, of course, and ready to go here for 4 laps of racing, as always, here on the North Side. This time in the rain, something we don't see too often in the Tail Racing Ring Runners, as they get out the final corner now and get underway. Corey Stas leading the field away in towards turn number 1, with Johnson taking quite conservatively on the way into turn 1 as well. Then Matt Green, then Mull. Hernandez just gets past Kosick as they tiptoe really through the first corner. It's so different to what this would have been in the dry. This would have been the first opportunity really for slipstreaming on the way down the hill. Oh, and already they're following each other off the road. That was Green, I think, already getting into the wall through the first right-hander there.
Yeah, and there's battles here with Dan Kosick and David Anders as well. Green and Johnson following each other off the circuit as they're going 2 by 2. Currently at the moment, Evan Croughburn and Dan Kosick there, locked in with Christopher Herron and Chase Petterjohn tucked in right behind them as well. These guys are the ones battling currently at this moment in time. And as you can see, we're just about to get on that run down into Arenberg. What's the situation going to be like? How are they going to be able to see, and are they going to be able to see? That's going to be the question. It looks like for a minute it's not too bad.
By the way, because of the tyres the way they are, I'm not actually sure if these cars even have wet tyres versus dry tyres, or whether they just have tyres. Anyway. Oh, and off in front, Stas has lost the lead quite dramatically there to Johnson. And Green and Mull both go through, and he's slow on the right-hand side. He doesn't look to have any damage, but he's clearly had some sort of trouble as Kratwald and also Hernandez slip through here. Kosik's going to do the same in the background. What's happened to Corey Stas here, and how bad is any damage that he might have? May have tweaked the suspension if he's been in the wall somewhere, but he was pretty comfortably leading after the first sector, but he's lost that immediately. And behind, it looks like Chase Petterjohn's off in the grass as Stas breaks quite late. He'll be off again. Oh, it's close. Petterjohn certainly was off, but Stas just pulled it up in time. And now he's going to try and work his way back through the field again.
Yeah, Corey Stas there. We'll have a look back a little bit later and just about get to it. Chris Herron's had a bad one. Pat Missick as well, also in pit lane, has had a bit of a disaster as well. So we're going to try and keep an eye on these guys and have a look back a little bit later on. Matt Van Horn also had some drama at the beginning, but he's got Anthony Solomon tucked in right behind him as well on that run up into Adnau Forest now. And Solomon down in ninth place currently at the moment, sitting third in class. Johnson leading the race overall for an AM. So fair play to Stephen Johnson.
Yeah, I'm sure we've asked this before, and most of the questions I posed, to be honest, have been answered before, and I've just forgotten the answer. Wonder when the last time, or if indeed it's ever happened, that an AM has won the race in any of these rounds. It's something that I will research in a moment as Easy continues on with a 2-second lead. But these conditions are making it so difficult. By the way, in qualifying, the lap times were not much short of 10 minutes. It's going to be a very long race, although those 45 minutes you can see ticking down the top left of the screen shouldn't be the thing that stops this race, unless everybody crashes, I suppose. But 4 laps instead, like what we normally see with these tail racing ring runners events. Here is Kratwald just in behind Hernandez, who's really close to Mull. How he's not ramping over the back of him through there, I'm not entirely sure, but they get away with it. Through the right-hander they go now. Miss, hit, miss. through here, it's just miss, 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 I'm afraid, because it's just a tiptoe. He looks down the inside again into Verstappen. I mean, these skip barbers are slow normally, but goodness me, they're properly slow now. It feels like you could get out and run a bit quicker sometimes.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I was just reading, oddly enough, what's on the front of Crapfield's car there as he goes alongside at the moment as well. It just says, it looks like you're missing the apex. Would you like some help? Oh, ironically. And then I can't quite read the bottom half of that. So I might have to change cameras. But that does look like a rather funky livery from Evan Crapfield there, and in whatever it says on the front.
Yeah, it's a good description as well of what's actually happening in this race as well. That a lot of apex is missed as Hernandez goes off. That's not even a corner normally as you go through the left-hander there, but that is the difficulty of these conditions. Just going through there, it's just impossible to keep control of this car. And now we're going to start for the first time tonight to get a bit of a view as to what the slipstream's actually going to do. As Hernandez gets into it right now with Kratwald. He might have done himself some damage, to be fair, so maybe we won't get quite the view that I thought, but Kratwald is certainly getting the slipstream of Mull. They're all closing on Green as well, as having to lift off through Kesselsen as well. A big run! Oh my word, Stas sideways as he was committed through Kesselsen there. Much more committed than Hernandez was, and he moves up to 5th place. Kratwald also flies through on Mull. There's some real differences in straight line speed here going on very early.
Yeah, it definitely is. And this is, big slide from Matty Green on a corner that really shouldn't be that hard. Unfortunately for Matty, it is looking like it's going to be one of these where it's going to be a little bit tougher as we look back from Green to Crapfield. Green on the grass as well. Coming in through to the left-hander now, then it'll be the right-hander up to the carousel, of course. There we go. And at the moment, Evan Crapfield finds himself in 3rd. Hernandez and Mull are running side by side, literally side by side. How's this one going to work out? Coming up into the carousel, Dave Mull's on the outside. One of you's got to give. Mull does give just to make sure that he can get into the carousel, of course.
Yeah, they all just about filter in. I've done the research, by the way, on whether an AM has ever won a race in the tail racing ring runners before. on 3 occasions. Well, first of all, we'll start with the best results, because no, it hasn't happened. I can tell you. 3 different drivers have managed to get a podium. 4 different drivers have managed to get a podium. No, 3. I was right the first time. Scott Sadler's done it 3 times. He's done it the most of any AM driver throughout his career. He's done it once this season, in fact, and he's done it once on 2 other seasons as well. Never done it more than once in a season, but he's done it on 3 seasons. Dan Kosick also, the very first race we ever had, Pro and Am actually, back all the way in season number, what season was that? Season 8, back at the end of last year, the very first race in the FF 1600. He managed to get a 3rd position. And also, we've seen Bradley Lovings, actually, one of the OGRL drivers we'd see from another league. He's also managed a podium in the past in the Pro Mazdas back in that same season as well. That was 3 in 1 season, which is the most that's ever happened. So, no, nobody's ever won before, and nobody's even finished second. So, Stephen Johnson may not win today, but may still break a record if he's able to do that, because an AM hasn't even finished second before.
Oh, well, fair play to him. Let's see how he goes on here. He's got about 1.2 seconds at the moment. Stephen Johnson out in front. There he is in the cool livery IndyCar machine. And you can see there he's doing a stunning job here once again. I think this is this just goes to show how well Stephen Johnson has done.
Oh!
And he should be able to progress from here.
Green just went a little bit wide there, and Crowd and Stas went straight through. They're going to be the big concern, I think, for Johnson. They may not have qualified so well, these two, but they can... well, Stas qualified well, of course, but he put himself a long way further behind than he should have been after that run over Flugplatz a moment ago. But Crowd didn't qualify well at all, didn't get a lap in, so started 10th. But they've both raced their way through the field together, and they are the quickest 2 in this field. How often do we see that between these 2, by the way? Separated by 7 points at the start of the day. Excuse me. There's not been a single race this season where neither of them has been on the podium. On many occasions, they've both been there, like last week in the MX-5s. Like in the LMP1s, GT4s as well. They've both been on the podium. Every other race that at least one of them has been, alternating between the 2, of course. That's how they've stayed so close. And without the drop weeks applied, they're just 7 points apart. Let's see, though, how they get on throughout this run down the back straight, because Crackrod here has really raced up to Stephen Johnson, who's led most of this first lap here as the AM driver, but he's not going to get a bonus point for leading a lap, I don't think. It's going to go to Crackrod, who's going to go straight through here. Stas is not quite going to be in the slipstream as close as he would have wanted because of the overspeed that his rival's been having there, the pro driver. Johnson doesn't pull back into the slipstream of Crowd. He doesn't really want anything to do with this, I don't think. And now he finally pulls in there. Or is he just timing this? Is he timing a slingshot down the back straight? Maybe he is. The slipstream is powerful once you get very up close like that. And look at this for Stephen Johnson. Straight down the other side of the hill. He does get back to... Oh, it's a big slide. Wow, what a save. And Stas is going to be right up to them now. He's nearly 3 wide. He's in the puddles. My goodness, what a save that was from Stephen Johnson. He's got to get on the brakes down here, though.
Oh,
And, there's contact. He's on the brakes a bit too early. And Stas hits him on the way towards Tiergarten. Hopefully neither of them with suspension damage after that. Goodness me, what a dramatic moment there. You'd never think the kink under the bridge there would be any sort of concern, but that was a huge sideways moment. At the end of it all, Stephen Johnson does lead the first lap of the night.
Wow, that was some amazing racing from them 3 up the front. Stas, Krautfeld and Johnson going into lap number 2. And at the moment, Johnson manages to hold on, but he timed it just right. He didn't panic. He slotted it back in again. And then underneath the Bilston, down the hill, comes out the other side and leaves Stas and Krautfeld to fight once more. Stephen Johnson's playing this right. Question will be, can he play it right to the end?
I think he's living on borrowed time at the moment, to be honest with you. I think he is going to be overtaken at some point, but he's putting up a very good fight for the moment. The spray and the puddles around this circuit, just extraordinary. The way these guys are able to keep it on the road through here, but it's really difficult to do. The last lap times are not working on my time screen, so I don't know what that's about. But anyway, I was trying to, I think they're about 9.5 minutes through that first lap. Very, very long lap, considering this is the short layout of the Nordschleife, of course. The wet weather, I would say, is adding probably 1.5 minutes at least to these lap times, which is pretty extraordinary to think about. Notice there, Corey Stas taking it much more easily through Flugplatz as well. That's where he went off on lap 1. and he's going to give up second place as a result of his caution, and so much so that Crutchfield is straight through and straight ahead of us here as we pan forward. There he is, straight in front, and Corey Stas there has lost that position immediately.
Wow, that was a great move from Evan Crutchfield. Literally, that was a stunning move. If he can Stas. Oh man, they are literally full on sideways in these cars in these conditions, which is absolutely stunning. And Evan Crutchfield getting a run down into Arenberg, blinded move. And if he can open this gap up, Stephen Johnson could be under pressure before they even get to the end of the lap here.
That was outrageously sideways, by the way. Oh, from Stas, Crutchfield's going to be off. Oh, how he saved that, I've got no idea. He was on the trajectory there to smack the wall really hard at Adno Force there. And not only would that have lost him the places, it would have been a tow back to pit lane for sure because of the angle he was going in at, but he just avoids it. And my goodness, these two are living dangerously at the moment. Stas again closed up to the back of Evan Crutchfield. And maybe my pessimism about Johnson being able to stay there is going to be proven to be wrong, because he is the only one of these who's not having a scary moment all of the time. He's certainly not made any mistakes yet. He did have that big slide under the Boost-Time Bridge, of course, on the back straight last time, and he went a bit wide there. But other than, he's having a very clean race compared to the other two behind, who seem to be alternating big moments.
Yeah, they are. I don't fully understand that. But Stephen Johnson's got to just, I don't know, calm it down, just get to the end, just make sure he's got no dramas at all. And at this current moment, with these two having a, look at the water. We're on the grass. There is a lot of standing water out there, I've got to be honest. There's more. This is more Tokyo Drift than blinking iRacing.
It's quite astonishing. And it, by the way, looks like Stas has got a very similar livery on that car.
Yeah, it's the exact same one.
Yeah, does look like it. I think below, would you like some help, is some instructions that are going to be blindingly obvious, like turn the steering wheel or something like that. The first word is definitely turn.
It says turn on the noob line, please, thanks.
And then something else below that. And then we're really
UNIN.
I'm just scared we're going to read out that says something rude and we're trying to read it out.
Well, the first bit doesn't. It says, it looks like you're missing the apex. Would you like some help? Turn on the noob line, please, thanks. And then something else that we just cannot read upside down. No. And I don't think I can quite get, I could probably get close enough, Mr. O'Leary, but just be prepared the camera might go a little bit funky.
Hello. I've seen you zoom in on some interesting things in the past doing this, so let's be careful now.
There we go. Uninstall. Turn on the noob line, please. Thanks. Uninstall iRacing. Click box to don't show this tip again.
Don't show this message again.
Yeah, so there you go. Hey, no dramas. Look, you didn't get zoomed in on somebody's feet.
No, or worse. Crutchfield got a lot closer to Johnson, though, just while we were messing about there on the way towards the book curve. And he might actually go through now. He was looking down the inside, but wasn't quite close enough. They've really gotten rid of Stas in the last couple of moments here as they come towards the Starstrekker now. If Johnson could just keep track position through here, then he'll be okay, but he might run a little bit wide. Nope, grabs the apex nicely. It does Johnson. And, so he keeps the lead. And normal circumstances would say if you keep the lead through here, you're likely to keep it until the back straight. But who knows in these weather conditions, of course.
Mate, I wouldn't have a clue. Look at these guys. David Anders and Dave Mole with Anthony Solomon running side by side with Dan Kosick. Anything's going to happen here. This rain is a massive equaliser. It does look like it's stopped raining. But then again, it does say it's 54%, so maybe my pictures just don't... am I missing something? Is there rain?
Maybe it's not obvious from the cockpit view like this. Oh, no! Solomon!
And we're on the wall.
And that's front right suspension damage as well. I saw the wheel move in an unusual fashion. So, he's going to be down on one corner there.
First on Johnson.
As I say, normal wisdom doesn't really apply here, and well, he's going to get it straight back again. This is the thing that's keeping Johnson in the race. The mistakes that the others are making around him are constant. Johnson is just running cleanly without any further problems. So he's doing a very good job here, is Johnson, and that is exactly how he's staying in the race, by not having any sort of problems. Again, 3 tenths behind only. If he just puts the pressure on Krautwald, he'll be fairly confident that the pro driver will make a mistake.
Kind of a good philosophy, considering the mistakes that have been made from Stats and Krautwald. We're only on lap 2. So I can understand his point of view here. If he just keeps it clean, runs his line, plays chicken with the puddles, which is what he is doing. Quite sure I'd want to be playing chicken with the puddles. But then again, trying to remember where the puddles are on this circuit, it's got 154 corners. It would be, well, you need a photographic memory, to be honest, because I wouldn't have a clue where they are, would you?
Well, no. It does have that added difficulty as well, as they almost, it's almost making a new circuit, the way you've got to avoid the puddle through there, the Stefan Belafes. You have to go so much wider than the actual apex there. It's amazing, as they now come through the Schrabentrans section of corners now. A little bit up over the curve from Johnson. He really needs to be within the slipstream, and he didn't have a very good Galvenkopf or Klein Carousel last lap. He's just missed it as Krautwald. Has he gotten away with it? I think in these conditions you can just about get away with pretty much entirely missing the small carousel. Let's see if he does a better job through Galvenkopf this time, Johnson, as he comes over the top of the hill now. Back down the other side. And he's half a second away. So, yeah, he'll have the slipstream again here.
Yeah, how strong is it going to be? That's going to be the question. 5, half second, 4.9. Oh my God, literally, can he see anything here?
These cars have a rain light also. Maybe we're about to find out.
Yes, just.
Do they?
Yeah, just on the back.
Dear me. That's, it's not very bright as Johnson goes straight past here. I wonder if he's got a bit too early here, and Krautwald will be able to do exactly what he did to Krautwald in the last race, last lap. Although, having said that, he won't be, or Johnson anyway, won't be going on the inside. And there you go. Krautwald goes to the outside, but he's going for the puddle again. It's Johnson. He's got to be careful through there. Got to be really careful. He's going through that puddle willy-nilly, and it's very nearly seeing him off the road. Krautwald goes back round the outside, and if he can stop it in time, he will have the lead. Is he going to stop it in time? He's quite late. He'll get it just about. Well, he leads another lap here, lap number 2. Krautwald leads for the first time, I should say. And that might be the end of that. If he makes no mistakes, then he should be able to pull away from Johnson, who has made a mistake, it looks like. The gap's grown to 2 seconds.
Yeah, I think there was something coming out of Tiergarten, unfortunately, that we just have missed there of Stephen Johnson. He has made some dramas. David Hernandez was locked in a fight with Dave Mole. They swapped positions twice down that last dotting a hoe. And Dan Kosick is not too far back as well. But these conditions, man, seem like a right handful.
They are so difficult, these conditions. We haven't seen rain very often at all in the tail racing ring runners, actually. We use plenty of cars that can have the rain. We've had the Porsche Cup cars last time out. We had GT4s and TCRs last time, earlier in the season, I should say, as well. But yeah, I guess all the cars we use don't have rain tyres available to them. And yeah, these are the ones that have turned up. I'm not sure how they've decided it's going to rain here today, whether it's a case of them manually inputting some weather conditions that allow there for rain to happen, or whether it's a little bit more complex than that, whether it's random in any way. But interesting that they've chosen this, if indeed it has been chosen, because it is not a car that seemingly is dealing with the wet weather conditions very well. Super difficult, and these cars slide around anyway, but this is something else for these guys tonight.
Yeah, you can put it on real life, but I don't know if it's raining real life at the point of where might have been raining at real life at the point of these guys had this race, I suppose. Not 100%.
I mean, when this race was going on, we were having a heat wave in Europe.
Oh, I don't know. Ewan, don't pick on me. I'm not the admin.
I'm not picking on you. I'm just asking.
I feel all harassed. Mum. Oh.
Yeah, you got to remember though. To be fair, it's an unusual part of the world with an unusual sort of weather overhead where it snows in May sometimes. so it's because it's quite high off the ground and stuff like that. It's quite unusual. So it's entirely possible that even while the rest of us were enjoying the summer and the sun outside, these guys were with the coats on and enjoying some rain, because that's what the Nurburgring's like. As we all know from watching races around here, the weather can turn very, very quickly. I'm not sure iRacing has quite captured the weather turning very abruptly quickly in the Nurburgring, but they've certainly captured the difficulty of this circuit in the wet weather, and we've certainly seen that today.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think, the weather system, is it perfect? No, it's not. We've talked about it before about, some of the changeovers in track between wet and dry. And we wish it was a little bit more on point. But I think at the end of the day, the overall system is working really well. And that's how it should do, and it's doing what it needs to do. It's providing us great racing. Would we like to see the more of the swap over? Absolutely. Do we have... This is the weirdest thing. It's now raining here quite heavily. Now, I'm wondering if we've got the rain one side and the rain not the other side, because I really didn't see it when I went on board there, but maybe it's doing that they did say would come into it. It's a complicated program, is this old Tempest system. So, yeah, I'd be interested to see how this one's working out.
It's true, and also when extraordinary conditions happen, like it's raining on one side of the circuit and not on the other, the tendency in the human brain is to say, well, that would never happen in real life because it's unusual. You just assume that, because it's happening in the sim, it would never happen in real life. But when it does happen in real life, you don't think anything of it, obviously, because you're seeing it in front of your eyes. But, when unusual things happen in iRacing or whatever, everybody goes a bit unrealistic. So I'm not sure have hurdled that, to be honest, and whether they or how they've dealt with that in terms of raining on one side of the circuit, as you say, and not on another. Because if there is a circuit where that's going to become a thing, then this will be the one. That the amount of space that it takes. It's not just the length of this circuit, because there's other circuits that are not comparable to this, but are very, very long as well, like the Bend Motorsports Park. But the actual facility itself does not take up very much space. This facility as a whole, if you want to call it that, is massive in its, I don't know what its square kilometres or square miles acreage is, but it's very, very large. And if it's going to be raining on one part of the circuit and not the other anywhere in the world, then it will be here. But maybe that's what we've been seeing a bit more of. We'll check them out as they get towards the end of the lap, as Dave Hernandez gets onto the side of Mull here, but can't quite get past for 5th place.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's nice close battling we've got going on. Hernandez in the car at the moment. I don't know if he's really going for this. I'm wondering if this is a last lap scenario. There seems to be a lot of lifting from Hernandez when he's getting close. So I do wonder whether or not he's saving this for the final lap. But look at the puddle, look at the rain, look at all of this. At least we know the SR8s next week, Ewan, are going to be dry because they ain't got rain tyres.
They're not. Oh,
no.
It's
sorry.
Disappointing. Do the SR10s have
no.
rain tyres? Just for no. Yeah, I know that. Obviously, it seems every update actually more cars do get added to that. In fairness, but it's like with the AI racing, you get more and more cars every update. But yeah, it's a shame that not every class has, and because we use some quite unusual classes here, I get the feeling that's kind of why we don't see it too often in terms of wet weather in the tail racing arenas, because I'm genuinely actually struggling to think of other times where we've had wet weather. I'm sure we have had wet weather in the past, but I am struggling to think of other times where we have, because again, going through the schedule from previous, I'm not sure the MX-5s have rain tyres.
Yes,
I don't think the LMP1s do. Oh, right.
MX-5s
I don't think
do.
the LMP1. Okay. The mini stocks definitely don't. The ARX HBD doesn't. Not sure about the FF1600, but yeah, I mean, we're picking out almost half of them there that don't have rain tyres, and so even if we, do have it you know, where it's going to rain in some races, not at the others. There's some races where it simply can't rain, so that's why we don't see very much of it, even at a very rainy part of the world.
There is, I'm sure the FF 1600 has rain tyres. Now, let me just go through. 16 does, HPD doesn't, TCR does, Mini Stocks doesn't, GT4 now does, LMP1s is the old one, so they don't, P-Cup does, MX5 does, Skippies do, SR8s don't, Ferrari Radical Challenges do, and that's it. Duck Week, obviously, we ain't got a clue what they are, so until that point, then we don't know. But, yeah, there's probably half and half, I think, does and doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. So even if you half and half those that do have rain tyres as an option, even if it's a 50% chance, it ends up being like 3 races a season. Is not very many when you compare to this this part of the world. And yeah, anyway, we're going down a bit of a rabbit hole, but yeah, it's interesting that we don't see too much of it, and maybe some of the drivers will be pleased about that after tonight, because it's been very, very difficult indeed. This is Mull just in front of Hernandez, in front of Kosick. It's the only battle really left on the circuit. Well, Stephen Johnson and Em Crutchlow are 2.5 seconds apart, and Corey Stas not able to catch the previous race leader, Stephen Johnson, through the small carousel. And Hernandez has got to stay close now if he wants to get past Mull on the way down into the Tiergarten, which I'm sure he does.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You've got to... oh, as they follow each other off the race circuit. You've got to stay close on the dotting a hose. 6 temps, 5 temps, that's where you roughly want to be. 4, 3. Oh, lost a lot of time there.
Well, yes. That's going to be... and Hernandez, I think, is lifting off, saying, well, there's no point in me going past now because I'll just get re-overtaken. And Dan Kosick's not going to wait around. So the games are definitely happening here. Now Hernandez is going to say, OK, let's start to slipstream here. And he's going to make it 3 wide. Maybe careful of those puddles. He can't get loose. Oh, my word, he's kicking up a lot of water over there. He just edges over to the right-hand side. You just saw it there as he got into the puddles. Kosick, unfortunately, has got a bit overexcited, so he's paying for that now. He's going backwards. 3 wide. They can't make this work under the Bilstein Bridge. They've got to back out of it, somebody. And he does. Dave Mull, sensibly. Big spin. Hernandez on the inside. It was always going to happen. And thank goodness they weren't 3 wide. He clips the puddle on the inside line of the Bilstein Bridge there. Oh, and he's blown his engine as well, I think. Blowing his engine just as he backed into the barriers there. Oh, my goodness me. It was always going to happen. That puddle on the inside of that corner is absolutely massive. And finally, someone goes unstuck through it.
Oh, Johnson's had an issue.
He's pitted.
Johnson pitted. Why did you pit?
2 seconds in the box. He's either... well, no, he can't have underfueled, can he? Just doesn't get to choose how much fuel he gets on board. Or would he have underfueled? Maybe.
It's open setup.
Yeah, maybe he would have then, I guess. That would explain 2 seconds. Or a faster pair if he'd really hit the wall somewhere. I think he had a tiny bit of suspension damage when we were running our ball with him earlier, but, you know, he would have coped with that unless he got even more damage. And he's got to have underfueled, I suppose.
Very bizarre. Very, very bizarre indeed. Must have been...
Investigate after the race.
Yeah, it must have been fuel. It's got to have been fuel. Hold on, I'm going on the investigatory one now.
The only thing else I can think of is if he hit the wall at Tiergarten and just came straight in, so he wouldn't have noticed him off the road because he would have just come straight in to the pit lane from the final corner. But that's the only thing I can think of. I think it's more likely that he's underfueled here accidentally. But again, not sure how he will have done that really with the Skippy. Not sure how much you actually need to take on to take this car around a whole race at this circuit. I've had cars in the past that actually can't even do a whole race because their fuel tanks are so small. But, I don't think this is one of those cars.
No, I don't think it is, to be honest with you. I'd be very surprised if it is that because nobody else has had to pit. I think the fact it's just open setup, I do wonder whether or not he's just not put enough fuel in to be able to get to the end. Yeah. But now he's got Matt Green for a challenge, and now it's all about... Oh, Jesus. About trying to clear Green to get at least third place after he's done so well here.
Yep, he's got to try and clear him and at least equal the best result that an AM driver has ever had in one of these races since it was introduced at the end of 2024. We've nearly, by the way, done a whole year of Pro and Am racing. At the end of this season, we'll have done a whole year of Pro and Am racing, if you can believe it. Feels like longer than that, really, to me. But no, introduced for season 4 of 2024. And as I mentioned earlier, Stephen Johnson is not one of those who's managed to get a podium in the past, I don't think, from these AM races. As I mentioned before, Sadler's done it 3 times, including once this season. Cossack and Bradley Lovings as well have both got podiums as AM drivers. But yeah, Stephen Johnson would very much like to do it, and as he said, definitely deserves to do it as well, I think, because of the way that he's driven this season. Pat Mesek being the other one, by the way, who's got that podium, of course, alongside Cossack, Sadler and Lovings. So can Johnson become the 5th? He's got to pass Matt Green to do it. Green's definitely slower than the 2 ahead, but Johnson hasn't done very much overtaking in this race. He's just been generally quick from the front, so a different challenge for him now.
Yeah, and generally been overtaken, hasn't he? He hasn't really, as you say, done much overtaking, if any. He's been overtaken and he's gone into the pits and been overtaken again. But for Stephen Johnson, he's got to try and clear Green. Has to try and clear Green here. Salvage something. He's driven so well. He'd be gutted if he didn't even get a podium.
Yeah, I think he would. Even though he's going to be extending his championship lead now to not an unassailable margin, but certainly comfortable, he's still going to be disappointed with 4th, I think, as he comes down towards Bergwerk now, in behind Matt Green. Now then, his exit is better, but where do you go? In the dry, this is normally perfect, and you'll be through by the muck curver easily, but we're not in the dry, as you can see, and so it's going to be more difficult for him to do this. He looks to the outside, no way through there, and actually just look at the way he loses time by pulling to the outside. It's a longer route, and you need more turning angles, so not as much momentum, and all of a sudden you lose some of that speed that you had into the slipstream. He's going nowhere, and so Green will be able to keep the position, and it probably have to be settled on the back straight now.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it's going to be a dot and a hoe run here for Stephen Johnson. He's not going to get in through this section. It's just going to be too difficult up through the top part of the circuit. You know, Exmiller, Versiphon as well. It's just going to be really, really hard. So he's just got to make sure that he can stay with him through the dot and a hoe here, I think.
He has. That's all he's got to do now. Say all he's got to do, like it's easy and we'd be able to do it. But of course it's going to be difficult. But that's the only objective from here. Already loses time into the Stars Trekker there, and he will have to close in before the back straight, as we say. Closing now through the carousel. It will be difficult to do that unless Green misses it completely, which he hasn't done. And now Johnson at the other side, 1.3 seconds. You're going to have a very, very good final sector, or hope for a mistake up ahead, which certainly has been happening from these pro drivers. Oh
yeah, there's been lots of mistakes from all of these guys, and you know, I wouldn't be surprised if another one came, to be honest. And that's the thing. He's just, you've just got to make sure in the rain you're putting pressure on the people in front. You know, we kind of feared that it might get to what it's looking at the moment, with people kind of very spread out, but they've just got to. The Stephen Johnson, he's just got to make sure he's putting him under pressure. Chase Petterjohn is just...
Whoa. Sorry, he nearly snapped himself straight into the wall there, did Johnson. He was saving a slide. Maybe it's more normal in these cars to do that. It looked like he very nearly snapped straight back into the wall. Coming through this section it was, just through this... right-hander, left-hander, and Chase Petterjohn does something similar a corner earlier.
Yeah, I was just saying that you've got to keep it on the racetrack. Dave Mole, not an ideal line. Petterjohn should have that inside if he can. He can't get the inside at the moment. He has got through though. Great move. Not a normal overtaking position at all.
By the way, Petterjohn's car looks very odd to me. It looks like it's damaged in some way. It's very hard to see because it's spray, but and it's the rear tyres, which I think are a little bit... Is that rear left tyre to you more bashed in than the other drivers?
I don't think he's straight.
Rear left?
Straight?
Looks kind of. But look at the look in the wing mirrors. The rear tyre on the left-hand wing mirror seems closer to the rear wing than it is on the right. And he's off through Lanscarton. He worked so hard to get past Dave Mull. He's given that place straight back up again.
It is, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's obvious from that angle. Wow. So how's he managed that without any damage then? Well, without any real damage anyway.
Compressed the wishbone arm.
It's really compressed, but doesn't seem to be affecting him at all, really.
Oh, very bizarre. Okay, let's put it back before I get too fancy with the camera angles here, especially with Evan Craftfield getting onto the dot and go home.
Yeah, he's about to finish up the race now. And by the way, Green also went off on this last lap, so one to have a look at after the race as well, of course. Plenty of things to mull over before we finish the broadcast, of course. But Evan Craftfield is going to take victory here by some distance, it looks like. It's going to be a dominant victory as well. He's going to pull quite a few seconds in front of Corey Stas by the end, and maybe pull a few points closer as well by the end of this day. He's certainly challenging him in the championship, and I think when you add the drop weeks, Craftfield might even be ahead here as we get into the final few weeks. But let's wait and find out as he now comes through the final Tiergarten corners, brakes in time for that final right-hander, and now into the final turn itself. Evan Craftfield wins in the Skip Barbers. Second week in a row. This type of car seems to suit him. He won in the MX-5s last week. He wins in the Skip Barbers this week to go along with his mini-stocks victory from earlier in the season as well. That's number 3 of Season 3 in 2025. Further behind, Stephen Johnson is going to take an AM victory and become the 5th different AM driver to take a podium. As Petterjohn and Mull go side by side, this is the battle that we were seeing towards the end of that last lap. Petterjohn, with that damaged car, doesn't seem to be holding him back at all. He races around the outside into 6th place.
Yeah, great job from him. I am surprised he has not been shown a meatball, the fact that his rear left has been compressed. Very weird. Very weird indeed. I can tell you who's not had a great race is this man. By the way.
No.
Been off quite a few times, poor old Pat Messick. So, yeah, we'll have to wait for him to finish. Not ideal for Pat, unfortunately. No, we won't. That will be the end of that.
Oh, whoever's...
no, he's back. Oh.
Everyone's back.
Oh,
I thought that whoever had saved the replay there had just
done a runner.
did it all as they crossed the line.
I've crossed the line and now I'm running off. That's it. I'm going to take my ball and go home.
Yeah. Those days. Messick has not finished in the top. Is he? Oh, it is shaking, yeah.
It's like there's the bit missing. The front, between the wing and the...
Yeah, the very point of the nose is missing, whatever you call that bit. But the nose cone structure itself is mostly still there. I mean, I was going to say splitter, that's not the case in an open wheeler, is it? But you know, the bit right down the bottom is still there, although it's a bit bent. And the bit above, the actual proper nose cone itself, is shaking. So he must have hit something face on.
And his rear wing's bent.
Yeah. Well, I think as he said, he's been in the walls here, and he's been into the wall plenty of times.
Yeah, we'll have a look back and see, but we'll just wait for him to come over the line there as well. Poor old Pat. A bit of a rough one.
Yeah, he's had a very difficult season, unfortunately, has Pat Messick. Of course, our reigning AM champion, as is the case often for AM champions. They are promoted to the Pro Division. Sadler actually demoted again, back into the AMs again, and I wonder whether Messick is going to have the same thing here, because he was comfortable champion last season, 39 points in front of Stephen Johnson, who's currently leading the AM standings this season, but he's really struggled this year, has Messick this season. So far, he's not finished in the top 5 yet. His best result has been 6th in the TCRs, although penalty points knocked one off of him that night. That's his best score to date, with a 24-point score, which he also was able to repeat in the GT4s after finishing 7th that day. Unfortunately, other than that, not finishing in the top 5, which is weird, really, considering he did it twice last season. In the Pro 2 Lights, which admittedly is a bit of an odd car, but the Nissan GTP as well, both slightly odd cars, but, you know, we've had some odd cars this season as well, and he's not been able to thrive in the same way as he bounces over the grass, and he is fed up. He wants to go home, and he's trying to end this as quickly as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
As he finishes a disappointing 11th from this race.
Yeah, I think poor old Pat just wanted to get out of here tonight. He's had a bad one.
Yep. Evan Crawford wins, though. He's had a good one. 11 seconds in front of Corey Stas, with Stephen Johnson coming on the podium this time round for him for the first time in his career. Matt Green and Dan Cosick round out the top 5, with Chase Petterjohn, Dave Mull very close in behind him. Anthony Solomon gets the last point for a podium in the AMS ahead of Matt Van Horn and Scott Sadler, who only recovered to 10th and loses more ground to Johnson in the championship. Messick, the last driver over the line. Hernandez was 1 down. Christopher Herring 3 down. I don't know if he started. If he did, he didn't go very long, as we might be about to see in these replays.
He did, but he didn't go very long. So there we go. I'm going to have to do some fancy trickery to get to where I want to get to at the beginning, due to the fact that I want to get to that. That's where I want to get. That's where Corey Stas had his first drama.
Wow. Slides on turn in. Oh, and he does hit the wall with the front. A good recovery, to be fair. To not spin all the way around and not actually lose as many places as it could have been. But, yeah, that's what put him so far behind. And in the end, probably didn't have the speed to stay with Crowell, but that certainly helped the eventual race winner get past him.
Yeah, and that was Chris Herron, who had his own little drama. Same thing, practically. And he goes and absolutely rogers the wall as well, but then comes back on track and does that. So, yeah, unfortunately for him and for Chris Herron, it didn't go too well, and then goes and hits the barrier, and then after that, he quits back, doesn't come back out. Pat Misch has had this form of drama. I think he took a track. Well, I'm not really sure where he's going, but he hit the wall.
He must have hit a puddle there for him to veer off like that. And then, yeah, that rear left isn't turning anymore, so that's the damaged corner there. Oh, big slide for Petterjohn. Saw this live. Oh, and he did grab the wall. That's where he pushed his rear right in.
No, he hit the wrong side. It's the rear left that went in.
Oh, so he's hit more than one wall.
It's the other
So
side
he got
that
away
went
with
in.
that.
Yeah, the other side went in, didn't
Got
it?
away with murder in this race.
Yeah, it looks like he did. Matt Van Horn and Anthony Solomon, they had their own little battle.
I think this ends up with Solomon off the wall as well. Van Horn too late, and yeah, Solomon did have to run a little bit wide to go past, but nothing too bad. As Van Horn now has to do a 3-point turn.
Trying to find where Petterjohn can press that wheel.
Oh, another hit on the right-hand side.
How is he getting away with these?
Not really sure.
Chris Herron ended up back in pit lane after this. But whatever he did, he did quite time. Oh.
Whoa. Petterjohn would have got away with that.
Yeah, probably. He's got away with everybody else this evening. Unfortunately for Chris Herron, no, it's not the final moment of his night. This is the final.
So Herron also got away with it.
Yeah, he got away with it, not this.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
He did not get away with that. He ended up jumping back to pit lane, and I think that was the end of it. Now, this again from Chase Petterjohn. I don't know how he got away with so much. Oh, he's puddled.
Oh, that's too late.
There you go. Ah, there we go.
Ow.
Look
How
at the
is
left.
he doing this?
The left goes straight in, so it's there. And he did that on lap 2.
That is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks ridiculous as well, doesn't it? It looks like a clown car now.
Yeah, he can press the wheel. So something's either broke on that car or not. It's very weird. Anthony Solomon does that, unfortunately. I think we watched that just about live. But Anthony Solomon.
Yeah.
He just runs on the grass and then, unfortunately, well, it didn't even look like he was turning, which was quite bizarre. And then he did that as well.
Yep. He wouldn't have done if he was just aquaplaning across the top of the water there. He just went straight on. Same for Messick here. Going a little bit straight on there. Off into the curve on the outside. Hits the wall again. That wasn't the first time, as we've already seen.
But that is the time he lost his nose cone.
Yeah. And then, yeah, clonked the wall with the rear end slightly as well. So that's where all that damage happened that we were discussing. Oh, it wasn't it for Petterjohn. Goodness me. Oh, whoa!
Bonk, hits the wall again.
Another one.
Yeah, and that's all before the end of the race. We're not even on the final lap yet.
Yeah, that's just in 3 laps. So here we go again. He could have been involved in this. Was that him through the middle there?
Yeah.
Hernandez spins through here. I mean, he may not have seen that coming because he's not watched the race, the previous 2 laps of the race like we had. But we could see that very easily, that big puddle was going to collect whoever was on the inside there.
Yeah, and then Matt Green, final lap. Doink. Fortunately for him. So, yeah, Matt Green did that. And then the final one of before the checkered flag. Puddles, bro. It looks mightily. Oh, dude, you're going. You're off. And away he goes. So, yeah, that's it for the replay run through.
Absolutely. Well, that was, I think, a different type of Skip Barber race we were expecting around here at the Nordschleife. I was expecting a very close race with pretty much the whole field and everybody slipstreaming together the whole way round, because that's what slow cars do around this circuit. But it was a very different race. I feel like similarly entertaining, but very, very different, as everybody battled with the conditions here very hard over the course of tonight.
Yeah, they definitely did. It was a fight. That's the problem. It was a fight constantly here tonight for these guys. And if they survived and they got to the end, to be fair, we only lost one. And that was Chris Herron. So fair play to all of them.
Absolutely. Fair play to them for getting to the line in the end. As I predicted after that, of course, Corey still getting closer to Stas, but not quite ahead of him. There'll be 3 points behind each other going into next week. We'll, of course, be back with the Radical SR8 on the combined long layout and in the dry weather conditions as well for you next time out. So make sure you join us for that. For myself, Ian O'Leary, Jed Parvich, goodbye from the North Side for now. We'll see you again next week with the SR8s.